The City of Wolverhampton is proactively supporting the rollout of digital infrastructure. This is in recognition of the benefits that it can bring to residents and businesses within our city. What we've seen during the pandemic is that this is becoming increasingly important, and COVID-19 is accelerating the adoption of digital services by 2 to 5 years. I'm Beverly Moman-Abadi, and I'm the Councillor Digital Innovation Champion for the City. And it's my role to support the rollout of future-proof digital innovations and infrastructure, as well as raising the profile amongst fellow councillors. We're currently seeing the commercial rollout of full fibre broadband in the city, which will give us gigabit speeds in order to meet future demands for connectivity, such as business applications, video conferencing, cloud services, but also allowing flexibility for employees to work from home. This is going to result in Wolverhampton becoming one of the most connected cities in the country. Currently, we have City Fibre rolling out full fibre broadband across the city, and you're going to be hearing from them today about how gigabit connectivity may be able to help support your business. Wolverhampton is one of just 13 cities nationwide where all 4 mobile network operators have announced their rollout of 5G, with 2 already live in the city. Through our partnership with West Midlands 5G, the city will benefit from the 5PRING Application Accelerator, which will allow businesses to explore the potential of 5G and also exploit this new technology. Today, businesses are going to be introduced to 7 core technologies that are currently driving efficiencies and opportunities within companies. And you'll have an opportunity to find out how that might be relevant to your business. If COVID-19 has taught us one thing in terms of digital, it's how crucial it is for our city in terms of relighting and recovering.
To introduce to West Midlands 5G, I've got a colleague, a Business Development Director, Michelle Sabatier, that's going to give you an overview of West Midlands 5G, and then we're going to hand over to some colleagues from our Application Accelerator, 5PRING. But first, just to say, we're going to have a Q&A session at the end, so while the presentations are running, feel free to put comments in chat. Or likewise at the end of the session, then we can do just a general Q&A if you want to put some questions forward, just shout. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Michelle.
Thanks, Leslie. Can you hear me properly?
I can hear you.
Excellent. So thanks, Leslie, for the introduction, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to give you a short introduction of West Midlands 5G, where I'm Business Development Director and also responsible for the Application Accelerator. And then I will hand over to the colleagues at 5PRING, who are going to tell you a lot more detail about the opportunity to participate in the 5PRING Application Accelerator. So West Midlands 5G was created a couple of years ago. In order to accelerate the adoption of 5G technology in the West Midlands in general and in Wolverhampton in particular. It is funded by DCMS, the West Midlands Combined Authority, the GBS labs, and also the other labs and local partners. The reason why we exist is because although all the network operators have announced 5G and that they're going to roll it out everywhere, actually there is a problem, and that we've already seen with the 4G deployment, is that until there is demand for 5G services from consumers and from businesses in particular, the network operators are going to roll it out slowly. And until there is a wide availability of 5G, then the businesses are going to also adopt it slowly. And therefore, everybody is looking at each other. And and going slowly. So we've created the West Midland 5G to accelerate all of this, and we're doing a number of programs of work. The first one is to accelerate the rollout of 5G and fiber networks. Obviously, you might not know, but fiber networks are very important for 5G because they are essential to, if you want, transmit the 5G data to the internet. And our objective is to become the most connected region in the UK. And then we're doing two other things. First of all, we have a 5G Application Accelerator, which is there to help businesses take full advantage of the 5G opportunity. And my colleagues from Springs are going to tell you a lot more about this in a minute. And then we're running use cases, large-scale use cases in transport, in health, and in manufacturing. So for instance, in transport, we're going to roll out with Transport for West Midland a number of 5G sensors and cameras at 350 road junctions of the major road network in the West Midlands, and this will help collect data and improve traffic flows and reduce pollutions. In health, we're running trials with care homes to implement telemedicine and telediagnostics so that care homes can be visited by doctors, in effect, remotely. And in manufacturing, we are going to start some trials in the aerospace industries. And our objective with this is to become the global hub for technology innovation, a global hub for technology innovation, I should say. We've already seen results in our infrastructure acceleration. There was a survey recently that was done by a company called Umlaut. They are basically measuring the availability of 5G all over the country. And you can see here in the result that the West Midlands is the region which have the best 5G coverage of all the combined authorities. And in particular, Birmingham is also the city that has got the best 5G coverage. Obviously, having 5G coverage, as I was explaining earlier, is only the first step. What is the next step is that businesses need to understand about 5G and how to take advantage of it. This is why we've launched the UK's first 5G accelerator, which is called SPRING, so that we can help thousands of businesses in the West Midlands develop new 5G services and understand exactly what it means for their businesses. There will be 3 locations. That is when we will be allowed to open physical locations. Obviously, at the present time, all the events that are happening are online due to the COVID restrictions. But the locations are going to open towards the end of the year. And there you will be able to see, to really understand what the 5G opportunity is for businesses. So now I'm going to hand over to Poppy and Leila, who are from the SPRING Accelerator, and are going to tell you everything about it and what it means for your business.
Thank you, Michelle. So if we could go to the next slide, please, Leslie. We're part of the core accelerator team. We come from different parts of the delivery organisation. So personally, my day job's back in Deloitte, helping organisations with strategy and innovation concepts, and I am helping the SPRING Accelerator to deliver and support all of the great organisations that we're working with. Poppy, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. So I'm head of 5G acceleration for SPRING. I work for Wira, which is a global accelerating company. as part of Telefonica UK. So my role is very much the design and delivery of the programs within Spring.
Really excited to speak to you all about what the accelerator is and the potential it can have for you as in your organizations and your networks. At the core, it's worth just explaining in simple terms what an accelerator is, because there are a number of them out there. One of the key differences with the Spring Accelerator is it's designed to serve both sides of the equation. So those organizations on the demand side who have problems or opportunities that 5G and related technologies could solve for, and those organizations on the supply side, from startups through to scale-ups and large-scale enterprises that might solve those problems. So the accelerator is designed to bring those two halves together and really, as is depicted in this, create a factory line of great ideas that turn into commercially viable propositions at the end of each of the programs. And I'll go on to just summarize what the programs are. So if we go on to next slide. It's for a whole host of different types of organisations. So we're very inclusive, from the large to the small, from the tech vendors through to the organisations wanting that tech, from public to private. The whole of the ecosystem can benefit from the accelerator. But what we are doing is focusing in those areas where 5G has the greatest potential. So you'll see on the right of this slide 4 different sector verticals and areas of use case that the accelerator is built around. The first is citizen well-being. There's a huge number of potential use cases here. Some of them are already out there and being experimented in parts of WM5G's other work streams, and we're looking to complement that by bringing some other different ideas to the table and building those concepts. We're also working on manufacturing, mobility or transport, for want of another name, and construction. So these are all verticals that have great potential for the application of 5G. So moving ahead, we've mentioned already Deloitte and Wire as parts of the delivery team. O2 are also a key part of this alongside the rest of us. And then the organisation you may or may not know is also involved is Digital Catapult. They're part of the Catapult network, and they have experience delivering testbed facilities for 5G in at least one of the location. So between us, we've got a mix of business, technical, and scale up and large enterprise experience, bringing the accelerator to life. So on the next slide, we are in the middle, in fact, close to the end, hopefully, on some of them, of standing up 3 physical locations, one at Innovate Birmingham, one at Wolverhampton Science Park, and another at Warwick Science Park. So these 3 lab locations will each have testbed facility, and they'll be stood up from the beginning of the next calendar year. And what they'll do is provide a physical location, presuming we can all get together by that point, so that the concepts that have come through the programs have somewhere to test and experiment, but also for our alumni to have a centre of focus for connecting together. You'll see that one point of note on that is that 50% of the capacity is reserved for those participants in the West Midlands, but we're also attracting people from outside of the region into the region, which is real benefit for everyone on this call, as well as everyone else. So we have 3 types of programs. You'll see those listed on the slide here. From the left to the right, it is the shortest to the longest, the least mature to the most mature. The Engage program is designed for those early on in their journey, just trying to work out if 5G can be valuable and exactly where. So it's a bit of a jargon busting type program. A day's worth of content which is interactive, allows you to engage with others interested in the space, but also to brush up on all of the buzzwords, and to start to define where 5G can have value, but also where it might not be as valuable as other tech. So it's a real direction finder. Then the Explore program, which is across 2 weeks, this takes it to the next level, where we help organisations to really refine a specific problem or opportunity area and come up with a pitch for something to pilot. So that you go from having an idea through to something that is partially validated and could be sold into stakeholders of either a funding type or back in an organisation. So that, as I say, it's across 2 weeks, but whether you're on the demand side or the supply side, there's a slightly different program tailored to you. And then finally, the Exploit program. So this is where the testbed access kicks in truly and fully. It's a 3-month program where a specific use case is built and experimented on with business support and coaching around it as well, so that we can take you that full end-to-end from early stage idea through to something that lives in the real world. So I mentioned that all of these are supported by the collection of experts that we have, but also those in each of our networks. So Wire has a very extensive mentor network. Deloitte is connected up with lots of industry experts beyond our own base, as is Digital Catapult and O2. So it's a real rich tapestry of support that you get access to. So on to the next slide. This is the point I'll pass to Poppy.
Perfect. So Layla's given you a really good overview of the programs that we run. This is just to highlight what's coming up next. So this Thursday, we actually have a panel session on 5G specifically for the transport and mobility industry. And our one-day workshop will be on the 27th of September. And you can see we've got follow-on one on construction, one on health and well-being, one on manufacturing, and one focused on the green agenda. Explore program, our 2-week program, which I will actually show you a video of some of the pictures that came out of the last one, because it will really bring to life what we're trying to do. But as you can see, we've got mobility coming up, we've got the green agenda, we've got cyber, and then the Exploit programs will start in the new year, but we'll be announcing them hopefully this week. If I can share my screen, Leslie, I'd like to just show some of the pictures from the Explore, because it will highlight the journey that we're going on. So the companies come to us. We posed a challenge for this around COVID actually, and how people would be able to manage and monitor large groups of people as they move into this kind of back to work life, queuing, going into shops. And we had 2 really, really great solutions that came out of this. So I will just share my screen and I can hopefully share computer sound.
Smart retail assessed for the high street. Well, over the past 1 decade, high street has seen a huge decline. And the current COVID scenario has just taken this already worried situation to the next level now. It is clear that there is work to do if we are to encourage people to overcome concerns of entering shops. So for now, the biggest priority must be to look for technology which can help people go back to high street. People must feel welcome, comfortable, and safe. And it's not only economy. High street has been a space for a lot of social and commercial activities, a space where people would meet and greet each other. So the overall need is beyond just competing with the online shopping portals. So our pitch here is how we can use the current and the future technologies to empower customer. So to be able to give them an enjoyable experience. How we can use technology to make them comfortable and feel secure. Over to you, Niranjan.
Good morning, everyone. I am Niranjan Murthy from Group 1. I'm going to present solution to the problem current retailers are facing. The solution is AI-based mobile application supporting both Android and iOS platforms. This mobile platform will bring together local retailers, consumers, and parking space provider to open data platform. This proposed application will provide real-time information of store health and safety, parking space availability, and discounts, offers, as well as incentives provided by the retailers, as well as the queues outside the shops information, and many more services as we go along. The application will provide very convenient features to the consumer, and also it brings the confidence to go back to the store, as well as at the same time brings unparalleled user experience to the customer. Since it is an open data platform, retailer can choose what data they would like to share with when they start this proposal. And as well as, we provide the privacy and the data protection for the consumers as per the GDPR compliance. And it's going to bring a long-term benefit to both consumers as well as retailer, as a lot of insight generated from the consumers can be used for revenue growth for the retailers. So next, I would hand over to Ravi.
Thank you. Could this opportunity be Google Maps for shoppers? Think about that. Imagine leaving your home and not having to worry about your transport route to the high street, not having to worry about finding parking, having instant access to information on when the next bus is due or how much seating is available on the bus. Once in your high street, imagine not having to seek the information booth for directions for the store you are seeking, or to find an assistant within the store to find out about special offers, where the item you're seeking is located. Imagine receiving information in real time based on your shopping preferences whilst you are in your local high street, alerting you to offers personalized on your needs. Shopping in the high street could be fun again. It could be more time efficient, offering you the opportunity to explore your local area and to find hidden gems based on your preferences, leading to the rejuvenation of the high street. The Government High Street Task Force recently reported that in the Black Country, the town of Halzoin saw the greatest footfall recovery rate of any place in the UK after non-essential shops were open last month. And with 4 pilots taking place in the Black Country as part of the High Street Task Force, this could be an opportunity to further help the recovery of our high streets. So I would leave you with this thought. Imagine the impact that the Smart Retail Assist could have on helping accelerate the rejuvenation of our high streets and the opportunity this presents in the current climate. Thank you.
Thanks, Ravi.
Well, good morning. I'm Jag Menas and I'm the business leader at Sensing Feeling. We make advanced human behavior sensing products powered by computer vision. And our solution for this hackathon has been put together in conjunction with our colleagues at Interactual, which is a design engineering firm. Oops, excuse me. Now, the problem we're trying to solve actually picks up on some of the things that were discussed in the previous presentation, which is that transport authorities and operators want to help get people back to work. But they need to provide greater confidence to users about how safe their specific journey will be. So a typical customer journey, quite literally, is that you pick up your mobile phone, you fire up the app, you find the bus, tram or train that you want, and then you go board it. The problem is, from an end user perspective, there's a problem associated with confidence, which is for that specific bus, tram or train, there's no information about how full it is, how much safe space is left, or how compliant people are with the social distancing rules, for example, and mask wearing. How safe will I be? And from a transport authority and operator's perspective, there's just no real-time information about passenger loadings and system-wide utilization, or indeed knowledge in real time of how, across the network, how well their pandemic response measures are working. And with revenues down and budgets are tight, so solving these problems are not very easy. So our solution is basically a 5G ready advanced human behavior sensor, which will fit on board the bus. It'll connect to the existing CCTV system on board, and it'll detect and send live data about passengers, about the utilization on the bus or the tram, in such a way that respects the highest standards of end user privacy. Now, if you are a transport operator, then the questions that you're likely to be asking are things like, is this electric vehicle friendly? Will it work with existing CCTV investments, or do I need to upgrade those? Because that could be expensive. Can it do much more than just solve the issues today with COVID-19? Can it survive and provide value beyond that? And how does 5G make it even better? So this solution was brought to you by an amazing team with incredible experience. Supporting me is my colleague Chris, who handles the maths that makes this solution work, and Ben and Dean from Interactual, who helped bring this concept to life by bringing an industrial design and engineering perspective to it. So if you recall the customer experience we talked about that I stepped through earlier, with our solution, the West Midlands can get people moving conveniently, efficiently, and safely. Thank you for your time, and I'll be happy to take questions.
Perfect. So that's just to give you a flavour of some of the solutions that come out of one of our Explore sessions. And Leslie, I think hand over to you and ask questions.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you everyone for your contribution. So it's to the floor now. And no questions have come through on chat. So you can either drop one in there, or we're a small group, so please shout if you've got any questions for the team. Yes.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, Isabel.
Hello everyone. Hi. I'm from City Council, but was really interested to hear about the innovation that's been coming into our city. And in fact, the theme for this Business Week is all about connectivity. Oh, my son's just come home from school, so
That's all right.
computers and kids. Anyway,
It's life, isn't it now?
it is. So yeah, and I think that was really what I was trying to get at. I mean, we're very much trying to make sure that the young people in our city engage and feel supported, but we're also an inclusive city. And what we have seen is that, yes, there's been some great advances around technology. And I just was interested what your thoughts were across from the panel, really, about how do we ensure that everybody gets the opportunity to be able to access and engage in the innovation that's coming through digital.
Let me go to Spring about how we access those facilities first, and then Michelle can perhaps add something at the end. So I'll go, I don't know if it's Layla or Poppy want to go for that question.
I can answer that. So in terms of Spring, it's open for everyone, the one-day engaged event. So you can sign up online, you can sign up via our website. The Explore event is kind of, again, anybody can access that, but they have to want to work on creating a solution. So I guess you've got to have the need or the wish to do so. The exploit is a little bit different in terms of the companies that go through that. We're expecting to have a almost a minimal viable product already. So they probably wouldn't be quite suitable for the 3-month program, but they could go through the Engage, the Explore, and that could get them to a place where they are able to do so. Again, it's open for anybody to join, and it's free. The Engage and Explore are free.
And just on that, the skills, because this is a real thing that we're finding. You know, we've got, you know, access, infrastructure, and skills are the 3 areas that we're identifying those gaps. You know, people need the data, they need the equipment, and they need to know how to work this. And what we're seeing is those huge changes coming in. Is there anything about the skills that you can offer to businesses and people that perhaps haven't used this platform before, but see it's a new market for them?
So part of what we're doing is providing those skills to people. So we have coaches, we have mentors, we have the technical expertise. So we want to educate and help other people gain those skills. So if they need to use the 5G testbed, we have the technical expertise to show them how that would work, instead of them having to kind of work it out themselves, which is just not gonna work. So yeah, that's part of what our offering is, that we bring the skills and the expertise to help other people and other companies specifically to kind of go through this, so that they can develop on that journey.
And I think Lady, you had a point as well.
Yeah, I'll just complement what Poppy was saying, which is the programs are designed so that they are quite tailored to the individuals in question. It is a business to business based accelerator in the whole, whether it be public sector or private sector. So if there's an individual citizen wanting to build the skills, it's not the forum for them. But through the engagement that we've already had with individuals, they've fed back that they've learned skills from their programs beyond just an immediate 5G application. So thinking critically about what technology solutions you might want to pursue in a business setting is a really transferable part of what we help people to do, even beyond 5G.
That's great. Thank
you.
Question from Heather.
Yeah, I've got another question. Yeah, sorry, yeah, from Heather in the chat. So, are there opportunities for organisations to put forward challenges for future hackathons? I'll go to Poppy.
Absolutely, we would love that. So one of the things we ask of the organisations putting forward the challenges is that they actually have a tangible need for it, so that if these companies come out through the programme with something which is really going to help, then they have an end customer, if you like, that they can then work with to do a proof of concept. Obviously, we can help them with the Exploit programme as well, so we can develop it and de-risk that. But we really want organisations to come forward with challenges that we can pose. So absolutely.
And I think already the programme you shared showed the themed approach, didn't it? And I know, you know, that those are just the events now, but obviously you've got a forthcoming schedule coming up. So you're open to ideas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add in respect of Isabel's question regarding inclusivity. They're saying that I'm also from the City Council, I'm the digital coordinator, but we've been working very closely with WM5G on, for example, a youth proposal, which is looking at a potential school user case. So the actual broader digital infrastructure programme does take into account that inclusivity, and there is going to be opportunities, I understand, in future, even for the Application Accelerator for people to find out more about 5G through that Engage programme, and that might be open to schools in future, as I understood it.
Yeah, certainly it's a good point to raise about the schools initiative. I do know we had great ambitions, and clearly COVID has delayed us somewhat, but yeah, that is certainly one route to be looking at skills and young people. Brilliant. I've come to the end. There's no more in chat. Anybody in the meeting that wants to raise another question?
I would like to pose a question back to the audience, if I may, if no one's asking us questions. Yeah. So it would be great to hear from individuals on the call. It's about what you think Wolverhampton's greatest 5G challenges or opportunities are that might become areas that we should be exploring and getting people into the accelerator around.
Yeah, good question. I don't know. I'm gonna pick on Heather or Isabel on that one, because certainly from the local authority perspective, it'd be good to widen it out if anybody else has a view. Heather, should we go to you first?
Yes, my problem is, where do you start, really? Because we've got a number of challenges. Obviously the retail, the high street challenge is something to keep part of our Relighting the City strategy. And so that sort of technology, which could encourage people back into the city centre, is really important. We have challenges around health and social care. So one of the citizen wellbeing test beds is going on in Bilston between a local GP and also a local care home, testing virtual diagnostics. So really, it's the world is your oyster. There's a huge, as a city, we're doing a huge amount looking at sort of smart city, working with WM5G on a number of different use cases, which we would hope to, you know, make the city a better place to live, work and visit. And so really, the more concepts we can use where we can be using our future-proof technology to improve life in the city, the better. I'm really keen to work with local partners on that.
Very ambitious programme indeed, isn't it? So Isabel, did you have anything to add?
I think it's the, as I would as head of skills and enterprise, you know, it is all about how do we create a growth in our economy. We've had some huge changes and challenges going through, and obviously we're seeing an economy where in some instances they're trying to survive and others that have absolutely thrived from these last 6 months. And I think the theme that's come out is very much that digital feature, and it just relates to that previous question. You know, we found some businesses and some business owners who are still quite traditional, and you know, this has been a huge change for them. We're finding a workforce where this is a huge change for them. So as they move into companies who do adopt a more digital based set of practices, so the skill base would need to change as well, and that again is another area of change and growth. I mean, therein lies the opportunity, and we do call ourselves a city of opportunity, but also a city together. And I think the more that we can, that collaboration, the fact that Wolverhampton is one of the ones leading the way in this 5G, it is something we really want to celebrate and get behind and actively promote. You know, we want businesses to still come here. We want them to have a presence in our city. We are open to whether you're a financial services, the automotive, the aerospace, all of those elements and the links to the supply chains are really key. And in fact, automation and, you know, the industry 4.0 and all of those features that we hear about, how does this all play into them being able to sort of make sure that they do come out of this? And we're in a relight phase at the moment of the city, but then we'll move into that growth as well. So we just want to make sure that that accessibility and awareness of what's happening here, so that businesses can understand it, get on board and take it with them, whatever the sector is really.
It's a difficult time for some businesses, isn't it? They're making hard decisions at the moment, but
yeah. So what would be great, just if there's no more questions, if I could just ask one more question building on that one, which is we've talked and recognized that there's already activity around health and well-being, there's activity around transport. One of the things that you just mentioned there was industry 4.0, and you saw from our verticals on our slide that construction and manufacturing are also spaces we're keen to explore through the accelerator. It would be really interesting to know of any Wolverhampton businesses that are looking to reinvigorate themselves at this time, or are normally ahead of the curve and should be people we should engage with.
Yeah, and I think that's my thing. I'm going to take away. We use that quite a lot. Today was a bit of my own learning. Oh, it says my connections. Are you okay? It says my own learning was a bit was new. I was trying to get used to all this digital, as I have been for the last 6 months. So that was, and I've heard of 5G and I've heard of some of the Spring stuff, but not in that full package. So I think my takeaway is definitely to engage in those sectors that maybe sort of traditionally wouldn't have necessarily opened the minds to that, but have had to, and make sure we explore it, whether you're in the retail. And we've done a lot with our eBay and our platforms. We still not want a physical presence, but you know, the online presence and the construction, the automotive and our supply chains are really, really important for us as a city. So I'm definitely going to take away and look at how do we get that right. And it comes down to that language. It does, as I say, I know we've got quite a lot of established businesses and this is a whole new process for them. It really is, but we just don't want to leave them behind. And also I want to have the door open for, and I noticed Nigel was on the call, I don't know if he's still, for our new graduates and for our new businesses and for entrepreneurs in the city to use this platform to take forward what the next business opportunities are as well. So yeah, exciting, thank you.
I mean, I don't know, does everyone on the call understand the kind of differentiating features of 5G? Is that a useful 5-10 minutes for us to cover that?
I can put my hand up and say that would be really good, but I don't want to dominate if it is.
Our colleague Steve is on the call and he's got a single slide that is really enlightening and speaks to the slightly less techie amongst us, and I count myself in that.
We've got time. We're still within our session, Steve, if you've got your slide handy.
I actually haven't. I thought it was going to be part of that pack, and I was sat quietly in the background. Bear with me. Let me get that. I think while I'm doing that, sorry, I'm multitasking, which I'm incredibly horrific at. Let me load that up. I think my question is like, so Isabel, back to your point, and also Heather as well, is how do we get access to those businesses, or how do those businesses get access to us? What's the best way to do that? Is it through us pushing social media as we've, because essentially what we're doing in our marketing is there's a lot of social media activity. We're trying to make connections through the LEPs and through the regional growth hubs, et cetera, et cetera. But is there a better way for us to kind of almost market the opportunity to people like that, both from a skills point of view as well, because our Engage program obviously plays very well to that. So if there's people within businesses that need that, there's upskilling there, but also, you know, to businesses that want to exploit this opportunity. How do we get to them, I guess?
Well, it's been one of our sort of challenges, and we use a lot of our partners, the Chamber of Commerce, the CBI, the FSB, but what has come out of COVID is we've done, you might be aware of the business grants that have been shared, that we received the money from national government to support businesses. And so actually in the space of, well, two and a half months, 3 months, we managed to pay out 48 million to businesses. So we've suddenly got a record of around 4,500 businesses, most of whom we knew, but some of whom we didn't know before. So that's given us a real data-rich piece of work, which is something I wanted to capture from this business week, because connectivity is our theme throughout all of these sessions that we've got, whether we're talking jobs or skills or our business breakfast on Thursday. Connectivity is all the way through. As I say, we've got Chamber of Commerce, growth hubs and our other intermediaries. But what we have got now out of this is some real direct links that we didn't have before, that I really do want to make the most of.
Yeah. So sure, I mean, essentially, could we start to pass you information that you can then pass on to those businesses?
Yeah, and I think that's what I want to package up, because in a nice way, this is just, I think there's some intermediary work that we perhaps need to do before we jump straight in. Others will be more familiar. But I just think that there's some intermediary work. We found a lot of businesses at the micro scale as well. So it's that giving them a bit of confidence and a boost in our city. And also, how do we speak to our OEMs, those at the top of the supply chain, and say, look, here's some opportunities as we progress, and of what we've learned from it, from these last 6 months, what they're asking for their supply chain to be ready for, and how can this play into that to help them? Yeah,
absolutely.
Great. I found the slide, Steve.
Perfect, Lily. Sorry, I did find it, but I was engrossed in the conversation. Thank you. So we generally when we talk about 5G, obviously people just think either COVID, or they think, is it just 4G plus? And essentially, it's kind of boring and exciting in the same breath. That's the kind of terminology I use, so that it does follow industry trends in that it is faster. So to a consumer or to a B2C market, you kind of essentially download a Netflix film a lot faster. That's in a nutshell. But the exciting part of that is it's actually got to a point now where it's applicable to business applications. So this is really kind of almost helping businesses become untethered. So think about, removal of wires and connectivity and things like that. So that's where it becomes exciting, is that it's got to a point where businesses are now really interested in this type of stuff. So putting that into perspective. So I've got a little diagram here, or this is a diagram we normally kind of talk around the main aspects of 5G. So I'll start on the kind of left there and the connectivity speed. So, essentially it's a lot faster. So as I said, removal of fiber. We've also got millisecond latency, this is all about delays in sending messages. So now we're down to a point where actually you've got a bit more real-time control. And if I put that into a business context, so a lot of people are now, certainly in the health and well-being, is looking at remote surgery. So it actually think about the levels of control that you'd need for remote surgery. And this has been done as well in China. You really need real-time control. So this, we're getting towards that point here. Heather, we were talking about smart cities before, and this is very much, in the local authority area. So mass density now allows more connectivity of devices. So this is very much where smart city plays in. So where before you could probably connect up 100,000 devices per square kilometre, you're now talking millions. So essentially you can connect up a lot of the infrastructure and have that data feeding back to a control centre if you wanted it, or a point in which you needed to understand the data that was coming back. You've also got this, there's a lot more kind of techie aspects to 5G that I will not go into that makes it different from 4G as well, about navigating various metal objects as well. So we think in a factory or in a house, in fact, you've got your kind of fridge as well. So you tend to get black spots in your home, but also in a factory, you think about all the metal objects that you've got. Actually 5G helps navigate around there using various kind of cool technology. It's a bit more reliable in terms of mission critical processes as well. So I tend to put this into a bit more, or the top two actually I tend to put into a manufacturing context. So if you think about, the control that you need on a factory floor over a milling machine or a kind of CNC machine where you're making an object, say, go back to OEM. So if you've got a car factory and you kind of want to understand what's happening on the factory floor in real time, you've got the ability to kind of control and understand what's happening in mission critical applications as well. And then the top one is this 6 nines reliability as well. So which equates to a downtime of about 5 minutes a year. Again, putting that into a kind of manufacturing perspective, think about the money that's saved with the reduction in downtime as well on the factory floor. So that's a kind of whistle-stop tour of 5G and how it's applicable to business. But if you think about, the three things: millisecond latency, so, reduced latency, mass density, and increased speeds.
And the way that I remember this is some slightly less technical than Steve, is all of the art of the possible examples that you see out there in WYSI videos or case studies. 5G is one of the connecting technologies that are going to make it possible to realize them. So AI and automation in real-time settings is only possible with this type of connectivity being around.
Yeah, it's a good point, isn't it? Because you get a lot of kind of AR, VR applications now, and people talk about it as being a good technology, but actually there's so much blockiness and blurriness and things with that now. You tend to get, I forgot what it's called now, but you can tend to get a bit dizzy with that sort of atmosphere. So with 5G, you get this millisecond latency, which improves that significantly. So hopefully you're going to start to see more of those types of applications driven into the market by 5G.
If you're dealing with health and you're dealing with autonomous vehicles, then it's absolutely, you can operate without that, basically, in some scenarios. So brilliant, thank you for that that was quite useful actually, even for me. It was quite simple. So I'm just conscious of time now, and I know we haven't gone around the room here, but is the last opportunity, if anybody wants to ask a question or a statement or anything, you're more than welcome. Okay, anything? Michelle, I haven't come back to you. I don't know if you want to add any comment.
Sorry, Isabel's got her hand up as well.
Oh, have you, Isabel? Sorry, I'm ignoring you. Sorry.
No, that's fine. It's a bit of a sensitive question, but I'm just trying to be honest about where the market is. Obviously, there's been a lot of press around 5G, hasn't there? And in particular around a particular one provider in the country. And I guess that has made things challenging in terms of people understanding all of those benefits. And you're talking about the benefits, and the provider is different, and those are two very separate conversations. But at the moment, they're quite interlinked when you see what's been happening in the press. And I just wondered what we can do, what sort of messages you've been trying to give to sort of give that assurance about the system versus that provision and the sensitivities that we've seen at a national level about the provider. So I think that might be a block.
Yeah, I think it's probably best for WM5G to take this question, because I know you've already developed some FAQs and messaging like that.
Yeah, we have. I'll open up to Michelle in a minute. I mean, I think the answer is we've been very much benefits focused. That's our ambition. So in terms of the supply side of it. It's not going to impact us on our program, so we're super keen. I mean, that sounds like sounds quite narrow, doesn't it? But I think it is. We can deliver benefits, but yeah, the likes of the MNOs will have considerations to think about. When they're rolling out 5G for sure. Is it going to impact today? No. Is it going to impact in the future? I think there's quite a lengthy timeline. It's not happening tomorrow, so I think there's an opportunity. I guess it's just messaging, isn't it? People are hearing different messages, so our focus has been on kind of making sure people are aware of the benefits. But I think if Michelle's off silence now, I'll get him to answer the technical bit of that question.
Yeah. So I suppose you're talking about Huawei, and basically. Yeah, the government has decided that Huawei is allegedly close to the Chinese government, and therefore it's a high-risk vendor, and therefore they should be taken out of the 5G infrastructure and not used in the future. Now, this is basically just a fact of life that we have to live with. So the impact could be that there will be a delay in the rollout of 5G in the future. Not an immediate delay, but future delay. But it's not really known if this will be the case. This is what is supposed at the present time. But there are two other vendors of equipment, Nokia and Ericsson, and they are big companies as well, who I'm sure are taking full advantage of the opportunity presented to them. So, you know, I don't think at the individual business level it makes really a lot of difference at the present time. What the CMS think is it might delay. So instead of the rollout taking 5 years, it might take 7 years. But we're at the beginning of the rollouts. Okay, so you know it's not going to be an impact. All the other thing about the health of 5G, I think, has been answered many times. There is no, and if you're getting questions about that, I think Leslie has already put lots of information around that. Yes.
Yeah, we've got on our website some, I think, frequently asked questions and position on health. So if you need any more, just shout and we will always be supportive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, one important thing to understand as well is that a lot of companies, they will install to get the advantage of 5G, they will install what is called private networks. So their own network of 5G in their own factory or location. Yes, and this is not obviously that dependent on the rollout of operators. But at the end of the day, what is important to know is that if there is demand, i.e. companies ask for it, operators are going to accelerate the rollout because they will get revenues, obviously.
The economics, isn't it? Yes, supply and demand.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you everyone.
No, thank you for your questions, Isabel. Right, we are getting to the close now, so I'm guessing there's no more questions. So it's just a big thank you. Hopefully, the event organisers have got our contact details. So please do get in touch either with WM5G or Spring Direct. I'm super keen to get people engaged in the programme. So thank you all for joining us.
Thank you ever so much for your time and for supporting Wolverhampton on our Business Week. Thank you so much to all the panel and to everyone who's joined us today. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you.